the wife saw my story video.
Yeah. And then?
She's called me and said, so, my husband's just told me that I need to make the decision with the builder because it's my project and I'm going to be managing it. So, when can we start?
And at that stage, you were still more than the other guy.
Yeah, still hadn't changed my price, hadn't altered it.
This is Andrew Kerr of Black House Construction, architectural home builders from the Sunshine Coast. Andrew, thank you very much for jumping on. As always, like chatting with you on and off camera. One thing that I always really like and admire with you is your mindset, whether it be on business, on personal, on sport, or pushing yourself and pushing those boundaries. When it comes to marketing, that's a big part of the relationship here, although it's grown into a friendship as well. When it comes to marketing, what's your mindset around marketing, and how do you see the role marketing plays in your business and what you guys do?
I tend to look at it long term, really, opposed to things like businesses like McDonald's or KFC. They advertise at dinner time because they want people to go now to go and get dinner. I'm hungry. I'd rather it's not a quick decision for somebody to build a home or I guess a high-end house.
When you look at that, you say it's not a quick decision. How long typically do you think it plays in someone's mind when it comes to making that decision?
Sometimes years. Like it's a long-term commitment. Sometimes some people are a lot quicker, depending on what they need. But a lot of the time, they're in a nice home at the moment, or they're going to knock it down and do something extravagant on there, and it's they spend the time thinking about it, and they get a better result or a better outcome when they do that as well, because they're not just rushing to get to it. It's researching a purchase. Like you're buying a new car, you spend time going through everything. You just don't walk up to the first dealer and go, I'll take that one. Some people do.
Yeah, that's true. Some people do. But one thing you've mentioned to me in the past more than once is that marketing is foundational, long-term. Talk to me more about that, or that mindset around.
Yeah, so I think play the long game. If you need work now, you've done something wrong 6 months ago or a year ago. You need to be thinking about what's happening next year, where that work's coming from, and I guess just continually growing it. It's you can get quick sales and quick turnover, but it's not what I do in my business. Is not what I like doing. So I'd rather spend the time and build that relationship with the client.
And when it comes to the marketing that we do, where have you sort of seen that impact when you look at it through those lenses of that long term?
I think it's really made a difference with architects and designers because they're I guess heavily involved and invested in social media, and their business revolves around that as well. So they spend quite a lot of time on it, promoting things, looking at other stuff, and looking at trends and what have you. So it's what I do is really directed towards what they do and how they spend, and it's not when they spend their time doing that when they're not at work, as well as when they're at work. But a lot of their off time is they're looking through that sort of stuff because I guess they're artists. They want to see what everyone else is doing. They want to pick up new ideas.
And I know one thing you've talked about in the past is just keeping yourself back in mind, so you're always there.
Exactly right. It's the part of the, I guess, long-term solution is it's always there. You're always thinking about, hey, he did something really nice that I liked. I connect with what he's trying to do, and not trying to push it down people's throat or say you should buy with us. It's just here's a great deal. We'll give you $50,000 off, or we'll give you expensive appliances for free. It's not that sort of thing. It's not what
I feel like you're then shifting someone's attention to make a decision on something that's less valued, maybe, or on just attention on the wrong thing. So maybe not dollar value, I guess. Not face value, but long term, it's
it should be a big part of somebody's decision.
Yeah.
And it's trying to shift their decision that way as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, different to most of your other customers or not? Or clients?
I think maybe your mindset, maybe it's from your background, your history, where you've gained experience in the past. You have a really great long-term mindset. And now that's been from when we first met you and started talking. Always calm, cool, collected, no problem is a problem. But also seeing where you are now. I mean, congratulations on, 2-3 weeks ago, what you achieved there. And we look back when we started working and the growth that has happened there. I think that says a huge amount in terms of that long-term mindset, and what you were doing back there continuously has compounded to bring the achievement and the outcomes that you're seeing now as a business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had almost immediate return from what I did when we did our story video. I had a client who we've only just had them in their house now. So that's almost a 3-year process from when I first met her. But she saw my story video. Yeah.
And then?
She said, "Oh no, he's my builder. That's it."
Is this the one that the husband was like, "You get to choose"?
Yeah. So he's
tell us that story. Yeah.
So I met with them. They'd been working with another builder for over a year, I think, and the house had grown and then shrunk, and they just lost confidence in what he was doing. And they saw she saw the video and contacted me. I made contact back, and I said, "Oh, yep, no worries, send through the plans." And it came from a designer that I knew. Yeah. And looked at it, I'm like, "Oh wow, it's not just a little box or something like that." And then met with them on the block, went through that. They were doing a few designs, spoke to the designer, or a few changes, spoke to the designer, got it through, and priced it up. And they were building a commercial property at the same time, and the husband had that builder price the house for them, and he was a couple $100,000 less. And they've come back to me and said, "Look, I really want to go with you, but he's cheaper." I said, "Oh, well, there's definitely ways that you can reduce it and ways that you can hide where the costs are, so you're not getting the same thing." And you're like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "I'll have a look through it and see." And then a couple of days later, he'd gone home from work one day and he said, "So I've been thinking about this house. It's your house, it's your project, so you need to make the decision with the builder." Yeah.
This is the husband talking to the wife.
This is the husband talking to the wife. Yeah. And then she's called me and said, "So my husband's just told me that I need to make the decision with the builder because it's my project and I'm going to be managing it. So when can we start?"
And at that stage, you were still more than the other guy.
Yeah. Still hadn't changed my price. I hadn't altered it.
Yeah.
It was just where it was.
Yeah.
And they've been absolutely beautiful throughout the whole build.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
That's epic.
And happy, so happy.
Yeah. So for the context of the guys listening to this, what is it that you specialise in, Andrew?
So I specialise in custom high-end architectural houses.
Okay.
Not first home, not investment homes.
Yeah.
It's just what I enjoy doing and what I can give the best value to my clients.
And what is the spectrum, say, of what people invest in the homes with you?
Pre-COVID, $1 million.
Yep.
Now it's $2 million and upwards. There's no upper limit.
Yeah.
But it's at the moment, I think the smallest project is just under $2 million, and the rest of them are all up above that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's costs, I guess, have increased pretty dramatically, but so have people's expectations, so it's shifted it further again.
In light of that, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this collaboration and working together, this partnership being really successful. We're not a silver bullet. What is it that you bring and make sure that is on point from your side of things to make sure that everything works together and the outcome is as desired?
I guess I always try and come across, come across with honesty and not try to hide anything from anybody.
Yeah.
And to keep that with our relationship as well, I think that then comes through to potential clients and to viewers of what we do.
Yeah.
back of mind for me is always the best outcome for my clients. And if they're not the right client for me, I'll tell them straight away. If you weren't the right people to do this for my business, then I would have said the same thing as well.
Yeah.
It's about working together throughout the whole journey and making sure that everybody's happy with what you get at the end.
Yeah. And what about, if we look at, your expectation and positive pressure, I would say, you put on your team and your network, I think is really key when it comes to bringing the outcome that you've told your clients you can bring them. Maybe touch more on that, because that's a big part about, yes, you're maybe the face of it, but you believe and rely on your team as well to...
Yeah, massively. So a lot of my trades I've been dealing with for over 10 years.
Yep.
Some of them a little bit less, but it continually evolves. You need that relationship, and you need to have that, I guess, background with them to be able to get what you want, and to be able to... You don't have to explain every time of what I'm wanting from them for the build or for their contract or whatever it is. And it was actually really good during COVID, because there were suppliers that were like, no, we can't get anything. We're not supplying it to be. Whereas I'd been using them and just them for quite a long time. It's like, no worries, here you go. Like there was a engineered flooring that comes from 3 suppliers in Australia. 2 of them one of them was made in Australia, and then 2 of them were getting imported, and that went from 6 days to get something to 6 weeks, and then a week later it went to 6 months. And then they said, all right, so if you haven't bought anything from us in the last 3 months, we'll just put you on this pile over here of, we might quote it when we get to it.
Wow.
And I'd get a quote turned around in like a week, and then I could have it on site in a week, 2 weeks if I wanted it to.
What?
And the guys are sitting there going, other builders that I know, they're like, I can't even get a quote.
That shows how important that network is.
Yeah, and you see them, and I know, and there's other builders that I know that do a lot of, I guess, project stuff or volume stuff, and shopping around and complaining and having a whinge on Facebook about the service that they're not getting because they harassed suppliers for years. And one supplier, he said to me, he goes, this builder's come to me, tried to get 10 houses. He needed frames and trusses for 10 houses. He said, I've been trying to get his work for 10 years or 15 years, and he always ignored me. And now he can't get the frames and trusses when he wants. He goes, all right, so I'll do that for you. I can get them to you in a month.
Yeah.
What about the rest of the cladding, hardware? And he goes, no, I use that supplier for this. And he goes, well, I'm sorry, such and such, you can go and get... and told him, like, 10 houses worth would have been a few $100,000 worth of purchasing for him. Yeah. He just flat out told him, he said, no, bad luck. I'll look after my clients that have always... I guess that we've already got
valued the relationship.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I laugh because I know exactly. I went to school with him, and I know exactly how he would have taken that. He just would have loved to be sitting in that room when that phone call happened. It would have just been hilarious.
Have a drink.
We always get sidetracked.
Yeah,
we just go on long-winded stories at places.
Yeah, sometimes I'll call you for like a 2-minute chat, and then half an hour later. Hearing that importance that you place on the relationship is really important, and that I've seen extend through to the great relationships that you have with architects and designers, because that's really important when you work on these projects, to have a good relationship with the architect and the client.
Yep.
What are some things that you have found work well when it comes to establishing good, healthy, trusting relationships with those parties?
I think you need to let them do what they do, because that's their job, or that's what their passion is. I don't want to tell them how to design something. I don't want to, I guess that's not what my specialty is. So it's about working with them and letting them do what they should be doing, or what they are doing, and then guiding the clients through that whole scenario or that whole situation. And it's the architect's got, or the designer's got an outcome that they want for their client, which is also going to be my client. So we all both have to work together to give the client what they're after, and to make sure it's meets their brief and meets their budget, and it's not, I guess it gets built.
Simple, but so important.
Yeah.
When it comes to you working with your clients, working with the architects, where do you feel, as opposed to someone else, where do you feel you bring most value as Andrew to a project?
Yeah, I don't. That's hard. I don't think there's one area where I just bring value. It's not like, oh no, I'm the best carpenter in the world, or I'm the best concreter in the world. I've got the best trades. We all share a lot of the trades. It's about working around problems, and there's never going to be a smooth process for a build. It doesn't matter what you say or who you are, there's always going to be problems, there's always going to be challenges that you just can't see on plan or before you start building it sometimes. And it's about working through those and looking outside the box for the clients and for the designer, and then making sure that they get that what they want, and it doesn't impact on the design that they've spent so long working with. And if the client's happy and they refer somebody else afterwards, or if they say that was great, then I've done my job. It's about them being happy with what they get at the end, and me working out a way to get that. It's not the same for every client. It's always different. It always changes. They've all got different needs and wants and things that they have value in, and about listening to that and trying to bring that across to them and get what they want. Because they all have a thing, something. They're all different as to what they really love, or why they're building the house. And it's about finding that connection and then going, working through it.
I think that's something that I wasn't there, but I feel like I saw it play out just through hearing little updates from you here and there on the recent project that you won. You know, there was someone else also tendering on it. And they went with you, I think, because of exactly that reason. Because I know on a few occasions we'd catch up and ask how that was going, how that project was going in the pipeline, and you would say, well, I know one time we spoke about it, you mentioned, well, a lot of the trades, because they're so specialised, these trades are telling me, just so you know, I'm quoting yours and I'm quoting this guy's. But at the end of the day, because of how you approach it, because of how personalised you approach them and their situation and meeting their needs, they've gone with you.
Yeah, definitely. And it even comes back to the trade. I was only speaking to one of the trades yesterday about this project. And it's a big house and a lot of detail in it. And the trade, I said to the trade, I said, look, how busy are you coming into the new year? And he thought I was trying to get him started between now and like in the next 6 weeks. He's like, oh, mate. I said, no. January. Let's talk about it. He goes, oh, thank God. And he said, so is it going ahead? I said, yeah, we're signed. We're starting footings in a couple of weeks. And he goes, oh, thank God. I'm
very grateful you're working with you on it.
He's a tradie, so he didn't use the exact same word, but for camera wise,
he was very diplomatic.
It was thank God you're the builder doing it, because I really didn't want to do it for such and such. It was out of his depth. And so he goes, we can't build it on our own. We need your help to tell us what we need to do. I said, no, mate, what are you talking about, mate? I was hoping I could just tell you to turn up and you'd give me a call 3 months later and it was ready. You were finished. He laughed.
Well, that shows the relationship there, right there and then. That they respect you and looking to your leadership and respect your role in the project, but also you can have a good laugh.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one specialist trade that does work for majority of the high-end builders that, like, they are the only person to do that in the area, really, that's capable of getting the outcome. People will tell you they can, but they won't.
Yeah.
I was speaking to an architect only a couple of weeks ago at a dinner, and he was saying, I hate the whole tendering process. He goes, it's just...
Why is that?
He goes, it's a waste of your time. It's just make a decision and work with them initially, and then you'll get, I guess you can keep things moving. You can you bounce back what they need, because they don't have all the answers. And it's hard for them to work through.
Because traditionally, the tendering process is where you line up with other builders and you're quoting on a project.
Yeah, so they'll go through, they'll get the design done, they'll get the engineering done, and sometimes they'll get the building approval, and then they'll go, here, give it to 3 builders or 5 builders sometimes.
Yeah.
And they call it hard dollar tender, so it is, here's all your information, you need to find the best dollar value that you can get for this build and then submit it. And they just look at, depending on how they do it, but a lot of the time it is just bottom line. Oh, yep.
Let's break. Last page of the quote.
Or look at the 2 cheapest.
Yep.
Or the cheapest, if he's way out, he gets thrown away. The most expensive, if he's way out, he gets thrown out. And then they look in the middle too, or the lower end, and then break it down.
So then price really starts driving that decision.
Yeah, it's all price driven. Okay. It's nothing emotional. There's nothing about value that you bring outside other than the dollar value or the black and white figure. And that's a hard part about it, and I think that's what he really doesn't like about it, because
this architect,
because like I've done work with him, I've done work for him at his own place, and it's about working through the relationship, and at the end of the day, it's their baby as well, and you want to bring out what they've designed, what they've spent months, years working on. And they like to see it come to fruition as well. Yeah.
So then if we look at you, I mean, it sounds like you agree with the architect. Tendering's not, with multiple builders, isn't ideal.
Yeah.
What if we look at a more ideal, if we go to the more ideal end of the spectrum, what would that look like?
Yeah, so more ideal is the client, I guess we meet at concept stage with the client and go through and have a look at what they're doing and what they're wanting to do. And it's not saying, oh, you shouldn't have 3 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms. Don't build a media room. You'll never use it. It's none of that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's getting that, I guess, building that relationship and looking because through the concept phase, you see what the client wants and how they're evolving through that whole process as well. So through the, I guess, design stage, and you see what's important to them and what's not important to them, and how they're altering things. And that goes back of mind to when you get the final plans, and you look at it and then you work through it with them from there. So you can suggest changes, or not necessarily changes, but different ways to do things to reduce costs if you need to, or give them what they're trying to get across, so you can see where they've been and how it's evolved, and then potentially offering another solution.
Yeah, that's a very different. I just feel like everyone's thought process and thought patterns is so different going that avenue. It's like let's work together to get the outcome. Yeah,
definitely. And if I have clients, they need to have a good relationship with their architect. They need to be able to speak to them, and otherwise they won't enjoy it, and then they won't portray what they want to the architect, and they won't get the house that they want. So they'll always have something where they go, oh yeah, we don't like that there in their house, and it's not how it should be. They should be, and they need to spend the time with them. And if they're not enjoying that journey either, then they'll push through it and then just get it done. So it's definitely important. It's as important as, like, the design process can take over a year, 18 months, which is as long as the build sometimes. And it's about working through that detail. It's not continuous work like it is on site, but there's a lot of back and forward and time making changes, doing drawings. And so there's a lot of importance in that area, and to try and discount what the architect's done through that whole stage is like that's not going to be the best outcome for the client, and it's the architect's not going to like it.
I like that take on it.
Yeah,
that's much better. You wonder why not everyone does that.
Oh yeah, you do. Well, some people just want turnover and they just want to. Yep, look at this. Oh, I've done another house. That's great.
Yeah.
There's money in the bank for them, but it's not about that. Like, they're spending a lot of money and a lot of time getting to that point, and it's not like you're just going to buy a car off the line. You can pick 3 different options. You can pick anything.
Yeah.
Like, you can,
anything.
There's no, that's right. There's always going to be a budget for somebody, but if there wasn't, you can just keep going. You can change. You can do anything you want. Almost.
Yeah, Skyhooks have not yet been
haven't got that yet.
Officially created.
So it's, you have to, I guess you have to respect what they've done, because that's their specialist field, and it's the clients have gone to them for that. Yeah. And if a client comes to me to try and do a design, I don't even attempt it. I can use AutoCAD, I can draw, I can do all that, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's not what I specialise in, so I send that to somebody else. It's like what you guys do.
Yeah.
I can use my phone, I can take a video, but it's not what I do. I can't Photoshop somebody's head onto
or a fish into someone's hands.
Yeah.
I've got to show the footage, see where they came from.
Yeah. Like, you have to know what you do well.
Yeah.
And work with that, and then look for help elsewhere. If you can't do something, you need to find someone that can do it for you.
Yeah. And
to get what you want.
Yeah.
But you also have to be clear on what you need. You can't just say, "Hey, can you give me? I need a video," or "I want a house." You need to know what house you want or what type of video you want.
Yeah. That's true.
And the architects, they know how to get that from the clients. Like, they can
extract that.
They can extract that information from the clients, and that's why they do it. And it's,
Andrew, talking with you about the future is always exciting. What projects do you have on at the moment, and what does the pipeline look like? What's coming up?
Busy, which is good. We've got some really exciting projects coming up, and some big projects, and it's, I guess, things that people have been working through for quite a long time. Yeah. It's not, they're not just quick turnover things. It's so it's the houses that they're moving into. It's not, so that it's going to be great. Like, there's one we're about to start that will see us right through for into 2025 now. So it's without any rain or without anything happening.
Mother Nature.
Yeah, so it's going to be beautiful. So it's really, really exciting there. And then there's other projects that are just coming out of that stage. Yeah. So that one there, I'd been working with the client since, for 8 months now. Yeah. From when the
one that's about to start now.
About to start. Well, I initially saw the concept 12 months ago. Yeah. And then they got through engineering and working drawings about 8 months ago, and it's gone through stages and changes and revisions for quite a while. Yeah. And it's, clients are always, when can you start? When can you start? I'm like, well, I'll start now if you want. It doesn't, that's the easy part. It's when you're ready. So there's a lot coming through the pipeline, and it's going to be a busy couple of years ahead, I think, with what's there.
What do you, on that note, some guys you talk to, all the mass media puts out there, things are slowing down, quietening down. What are you seeing?
Not in what I do. People have already spent part of the money and they've spent the time, so it's going to happen. And people are realising that the things just don't cost what they used to across the board.
And they're not going back down either.
No, they won't go back down. And so they've realised what they want, and then moving forward with it. Some things have changed, and we've reduced sizes to get to back to where people's budgets are, but a lot of people's budgets have increased as well.
Yep.
So it's, I think the lower end will slow up quite a bit until the government puts in some sort of stimulus again, which they're bound to do. But with the Olympics coming up
in South East
Queensland, it's not going to slow down at all. Like the Sunshine Coast Council's got, so they have numbers of units that they need to build for the Queensland government so they can get X amount of sports. And if they don't deliver those numbers of units for people to rent out or to live in while the games are on, they'll just take away. They go, you don't get that sport anymore. We're going to give it to the Gold Coast because they've got more accommodation and they've got facilities. So there's a whole commercial drive for them to get that, and the commercial side's busy. There's huge amounts of industrial and civil construction going. Like we came from the Sunshine Coast down to Byron yesterday, and Wednesday night we were down to Brisbane for a concert, and then basically from Brisbane to the Sunshine Coast, half of the highway had roadworks at midnight when we were going back. And then coming down yesterday, the same section to Brisbane, and then Brisbane to the Gold Coast and back down, it's just roadworks.
There you go.
Civil construction. And that's
stuff to come.
Yeah, and they're projects that they're doing that aren't 6-month projects. Like they're ripping up Gympie Road in Brisbane, and that's going to be 12 months of just chaos.
Avoid Gympie Road.
I'd hate to live there and have to be going through there daily. It's so that you've got that level. It takes a lot of trades away. It doesn't take them away. They use a lot of their specialist trades in that sort of thing. But when they're quiet, they overflow into housing, and that's when you get, I guess, more people looking for work, and you get reductions in trade costs sometimes. But I can't see that happening, especially when we've got 8 years to the Olympics. Yeah. And they've got so much that they're...
So it's about, I think really what I'm hearing is looking at assessing the future and then adapting.
Yeah. So it's not going to...
It's not going to go back to pre-COVID.
No, I don't think it's going to slow down. Like they're tearing apart the Gabba. They're spending $2 billion or something on that to rebuild a whole stadium that's beautiful as it is. So we're not. It's looking good. It's going to be a strong future. So there's still,
which will attract more interest, more people, more. Well, Andrew, big thank you. Really appreciate you coming on and chatting today, and looking forward to the rest of this Synthesis event together.
No, thank you, mate. Easy.